Hi Paulina, where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Oh, okay. And what are the typical stereotypes around there?
I think the first one which comes into my mind is being very religious and traditional when it comes to it. Yeah, that's because the church and government are kind of connected with each other. So always when it comes to politics, also like religions comes in, and when it comes to it, some people are intolerant about all their religions or are afraid of them, and also they're intolerant when it comes to other orientations. So sometimes they don't accept homosexuals or others. So yeah, that's the first thing. But another very significant stereotype that I found kind of damaging is about Polish people being thieves or rude. Like, for example, when I was in Germany, some people were making jokes like, yeah, you're a thief because Polish people come to Germany to work, but
Really?
some of them, yeah, they're like a thieves thing. It sometimes have broken cars because they're Polish. But yeah, but also when you look at the politicians, how they act in the speeches, it's not like only about average people, but also politicians. Like you can see them in television, books. So they're very insultive, rude, sexist, racist. So I can understand why people are seeing us this way, because that's what we show like globally. And the last that I found really nice stereotype is about Polish being good at hospitality, that we are very friendly, open. We just like when someone comes in, we just want to give you the best and just feel at home.
Oh, okay. And why did you pick those stereotypes?
I think it's really crucial to know how others see us and to know what we have to change to be better, because it's not like every Polish people are this way, like every person is just bad and I don't know, thief, rude, insulted, racist. It's not the thing. But because of the people that we can see like in daily life, we just think like, okay, so they're like this. And especially when we can see like multiple people like this. So it's good to show like, hey, we are not like this. It's like everybody is different.
Why do you think people portray Polish people like that?
Because they can see it like abroad, how they act. They're always very loud, swearing a lot. Like when I came here, first what I heard it was like Polish swear words, and that's what they think of. Is like, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that about Poland, but I'm glad I know it now.
Recently, I heard about this funny stereotype that Germans dress traditionally. Is it true?
Oh, you mean like the leather pants and the dildo?
Yeah.
Well, we have a festival at the end of October. Maybe you heard of it. It's called Oktoberfest, and it's popular in Germany and more like in the southern region, that we dress in traditional clothes like the leather pants for the men and the dirndl. It's like a dress for the girls, but we don't dress like that just normally if we go outside or meet with friends. It's a festival, and around this time it's common to dress like this, just to respect the tradition.
Do you also do it?
No, I don't. The dirndl is a little bit expensive, so I don't buy it. But sometimes I go with my friends to the Oktoberfest, because we don't only drink beer and eat pretzels and eat bratwurst. Maybe you heard of it. But there are also like roller coasters and fun stuff too.
Okay, I didn't know that. But how about other stereotypes? Because there's so many.
Well, there's one stereotype that Germans are very strict and follow the rules, and they, if there's something wrong, it's not going like they want it, then they will even call the police. And I would say that stereotype is sadly true, because Germans, they don't want to do freestyle. They want to stick by the rules and go strictly step by step. And if someone goes against the rules, they get a little bit not aggressive but irritated because it's not normal for them. So that's why they get a little bit stressed about it. So yes, I would say the stereotype is true. And another stereotype that I can think about is many people think the German language is very aggressive, and I think for me it doesn't sound aggressive. And you see in a lot of videos if they talk German in movies or somewhere, they talk it very loud and aggressive, and it's just to joke about it, but it's not true. In Germany, we just talk calmly just in our language, and it doesn't sound aggressive. If I would speak German now, you would say, oh, it sounds simple. And just in the movies or in the shows, they talk aggressive just to joke about it. But that's why I would say it's just a stereotype. It's not true that the German language is that aggressive.
But why is it like this way? How do you feel?
I guess it has something to do with the history, because Adolf Hitler, in his videos, he talked very aggressive, and that's why people try to mimic it, and they say every German talks like him.
Yeah. And do you think like it's important to know about the stereotypes, or are they relevant, or to change something?
I think it's important that you just research what is true. Is the stereotype true, and don't believe everything you see in movies. But for example, they stick by the rules. You should know that, because if you work with a German, then you know it's gonna be maybe a little bit difficult, because maybe you would like to be freestyle and go take risks, but you can't do it with a German teammate because he would not prefer to work like this.
A bit more pressure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. What are the stereotypes of Belgium?
So one stereotype I would really want to talk about is the one that more older people, like grandparents and parents from Belgian people, they like their children to follow a certain path in life. They want their children to go to school first, then have a good career, and then have a search for a partner to be with, buy a house, and have kids, and have a good life that's planned a certain way.
That's what I also heard, that Belgian people like to finance their children so they can experience everything.
They are really focused on their children and having a good life for them.
Yes, tell me another stereotype.
So I know from my girlfriend that people in Belgium generally speak English very well, and I guess it's kind of true because we are taught English from a young age, and we see a lot of English films, because not many films are dubbed or
synchronized.
Yeah, in Dutch language, so we have to hear it in English and just read the subtitles, and that way we learn how to speak English. Stereotype in Belgium is going to the festivals every summer. It's a usual thing here in Belgium to just go and party all summer. There are a lot of festivals here in Belgium. There is Rock Werchter, there is Tomorrowland, which is known about the whole world knows about it. There is even a winter version about it, and in America it's also a big thing. Then there is Dur, that's a really nice festival which is very cheap, and you can drink a lot there and have fun with your friends. It's just, in overall, Belgium is a country to party.
And do you consider this as a stereotype, or is it true?
I think it's very true, yeah. Me and my friends, we party a lot at the festivals, and it's the best time of the year.
Okay, thank you, Matthias, for telling me so much about Belgium.
No problem.
So Peter, where do you come from?
First of all, I was born here in Mechelen. I've lived here my entire life, pretty much. I went here to school, spoke the language, grew up speaking French and Dutch with my both siblings and parents. And my parents are from Macedonian origin. It all dates back to my grandparents who came here from the 1950s as we will call it in Dutch, gastarbeiders. Ever since then, my grandpa took over both my grandmother and his children, as my father and my aunt, and they grew up in Brussels. And furthermore, then he learned, he got to know each other with my mom, and then I was born here in Mechelen. And for me, Belgium is actually pretty much my home country, my hometown. And if I compare it with Macedonia, Macedonia is more like, where do I come from, who are the people, and how different are these from, and in comparison with me.
And yes, that's very interesting. And what are the typical stereotypes of people?
Well, the stereotypes that I mostly am in touch with are like, if I say to people here that are from Macedonia, they were like, oh, it's like from like the salad, like French salad, like the salad macédoine. It's like, I never heard of that, what salad it is. And if I go over there, like in Macedonia, they think that they see me as a Belgian person, and they will like assume that I'm some kind of mogul or something, or someone that, like, they think it's a place where money comes from the trees, you know, like, take it like this. And furthermore, like, I haven't been really discriminated or in any way. People assume that I'm Flemish, based on my skin color probably, or the way I speak Plattemechels, like the local dialect. And that's, it's not bothering me anyway, but it's more like funny, like how people think that I'm still communist based on my last name, who has Akovsky is like, oh, this Russian probably, or is European, as such.
And Macedonia is a very regular in Eurovision. How come that?
It's the reason why it's they really have something with Eurovision. Like when it's Eurovision, the country send its best singers or artists to the front lines, pretty much, to make sure, like, to make sure they like stand out. But for them, it's like a World Cup, where I think, like, for other Balkan countries, like, send the best players you have on the field, or either you send the best artists you have to sing or to perform. And they really want to stand out, and it's pretty obvious that they always end up in the finals and such.
That was very interesting.
So Lionel, what can you tell me about your origins?
I'm from Madagascar. I was adopted from a mother here in Belgium, and I live in Belgium since my 5 years. But I have still ties with Madagascar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you regularly visit Madagascar? Are there ties with Madagascar?
My grandparents live there.
Yeah.
And I don't visit them very often. Yeah, people think Madagascar, such as the movie, beautiful weather, like a regular joke, are they talking animals? But there aren't talking animals. But it's a country that are really poor people with very poor people.
Yeah, I would assume that, especially during your younger times, people like really will mock with Madagascar and Madagascar in the film.
And people also think that people from Madagascar lives in huts without technology, but they have technology and live in not so decent houses like here in Belgium, but they can live there.
Yes, and how do you tell people, like, convince that, like, you actually not really a native Madagascar people, but actually you're just a citizen from Belgium?
How do I convince them? Yeah, it's really difficult because I don't look like the most people from Madagascar, because it's very different there because there are a lot of mixtures between races. Indians, some are French, so and they speak also a very difficult language, Malagasy, and yeah, so they recognize me like, oh, that's a foreigner, and he's not really from Madagascar.
And do you view Madagascar as like your home country or more like a tourist destination for you?
For me, it's some like a second home. Yeah, it's something inside me.